the Fanboy and the Snob. I'm Chad. That's Chris, and today we have up from Florida, Andrew. And today we watched the 1971 Steven Spielberg thriller, Duel, starring David. That's the main character's name.
Dennis Weaver.
Dennis Weaver.
As Michael Mann.
As David something. The confidence. Dennis Weaver as Michael Mann, starring David as David. I'm gonna cut it right when you guys go.
The confidence in that statement.
Anyway, I chose this movie. It was my turn to pick.
Why did we watch this movie?
Because your movie last week sucked. But I also chose this one because...
Run, Ronnie, Run is a cinematic comedy classic.
I'm broken.
I chose this one because this is an interesting movie. It was released for TV first, Steven Spielberg's first, and then it got a theatrical release shortly after. But this movie, it was kind of important in film history because this Spielberg learned a lot from this movie, especially with how to make Jaws and subsequent other films. Suspense. How to hide a villain.
Was it thrilling?
It reminded me some of the shots where, and this isn't meant as an insult, but it felt like a film student trying to recreate Hitchcock, but doing it as opposed to, every other film student ever.
I think the shots that he really got down really well were like the shots where it panned out and showed scenery and stuff. I thought those were beautifully shot.
I love the zoom-ins and all that
the
stuff.
The zoom-ins were pretty
and
good.
You pointed out the scene where he turns the camera, but it was so fluid.
The scene where he crashes and it goes from his face and then turns up like that to an old man's face and then back down on the same arc. And it's like, it's 23 frames a second because it's film. So it doesn't look jarring. You know what I mean?
No jank?
No, the right kind of jank though. The one that's 23 frames a second, Like if it was 60 frames a second, you'd notice it, or 120, or if it was 10 frames a second, it'd be super stuttery, but it was this right amount of stutter where it was believable.
Yeah.
You guys don't know.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Right,
I know what you're talking about.
It's like when you're frames to 60
it's like when you try to move your eyes really fast and it's never going to be smooth. It's always going to be a little bit of
exactly. That's what I liked about it. It looked like you were sitting there watching the conversation between the two.
So let's talk about what happens in this movie, because we haven't done that yet.
I'll explain it.
So go ahead, Chad. Explain what happens in this movie.
It's pretty straightforward.
A man that's driving for his job. He has to go meet up with, I assume, his boss.
Someone who he has an account with.
Someone who his job depends on.
And it's very important he goes to meet this man because he's leaving, the state of the country or something, was it?
He's leaving the city.
He's getting on a plane and he has to meet him, so you're correct so far.
Yeah. So he's driving and all of a sudden...
Suddenly...
Did the truck go behind him or in front of him?
No, he comes up behind the truck. The truck's going slow, and it's polluting.
And he's gonna roll coal, as Ricky Dudley would say.
And he's kind of just irritated because the truck is going slow. So he decides it's a legal pass. Yeah. There's a striped road. Go ahead, pass. And then a couple seconds later, the truck passes him. And he's like, all right, whatever, fine, I don't care. But then the truck slows down.
Brake checks him.
Yeah, because then the truck slows down, and he's like, you got the road, use it.
You stupid. And then, this movie was awesome.
This guy had way more composure than I would have had.
Yeah, Chad would have gotten out of his car yelling all the racial slurs.
No, I just would have gotten out of the car, climbed up on his door, and probably murdered him.
Okay. Cool.
Anyway,
so a lot of description in that scenario.
This kind of keeps happening back and forth between the two of them, and at one point, the trucker finally says, all right, fine, you can pass. He goes to pass, and a car's coming on the other way. That's when the driver realizes, holy shit, this guy's actually trying to kill me.
So instead of doing what real men do and turn around and run away, he decides to keep driving. He decides to keep driving behind the giant 18-wheeler. I would have left right there. After he tried to kill me...
Well, he couldn't leave. The guy kept following him.
Okay, well, then I would have kept driving till I ran into a cop.
He tried that, and it was an exterminator.
It was an
guy.
Asian man, I know. No help. Couldn't even
So-
see the truck coming.
One of the more important scenes is he finally gets around him, and the truck is right on his tail. They're speeding. They're going about 90 miles an hour, and finally he loses control of his car, and he crashes into a fence
Right.
in front of a cafe, and the truck just keeps going. So, yeah, he has whiplash. You know, some old guy comes over and he's like,
and it's like,
Sonny, are you okay?
actually, I wasn't wearing my seatbelt and we have no airbags, and then I crashed into a post. I probably have a concussion and probably, neck injury.
I feel bad for the dude who owns the fence. He didn't
Yeah.
try to fix it. He just took the wood off the car and took off.
Anyway, he goes inside the cafe to try to cool his head. Goes into the bathroom.
And he
he's
does
sitting-
the exact opposite. He just winds himself the fuck up.
And during this whole thing, he has an inner dialogue, but you hear him talking.
And
Yeah.
he's going, Jamaica, Bermuda,
Ooh, I wanna make it to Bermuda, Bahama, come.
Anyway,
So he goes in the cafe, and when did he see the boots? We need to refer to the
At
boots.
the
he
gas
first goes
station.
into the bathroom and he wipes himself down and he's having a little conversation with himself.
This was the first gas station. So the first gas station is when he sees the boots because they do the little back. And
Oh,
forth
right.
brake check. And he pulls into a gas station and he's like, "Whatever, that guy's a crazy son bitch." And then he gets away from him and he thinks he's fine. He goes to the gas station. He starts getting his gas pump. Guy's like, "Hey, your fuel line's whatever." And he's like, "Fuck you." And then
Radiator hose.
And then he sees the
Radiator
truck
hose.
pull in, but the truck pulls in, so they're like this. So he doesn't see the guy get out of the driver's side. Guy gets out of the driver's side. All he sees is fucking boots. He goes, "Guy's got brown cowboy boots." And then the guy beeps his horn the whole time, and fucking dude in the little Plymouth's all scared of him. And then he speeds away, and then eventually the car chase happens where he winds up taking the turn too hard and crashing into the fence. The truck goes by. Nobody sees the truck go by. He's like, "What the fuck?" So he goes in Curtis's cafe. Was it Curtis?
I think it was something like that.
I keep going to Curtis for C names. It's probably like Charlie's or something. And that's when he has the freak out where he orders a meatless sandwich like a fucking,
Yeah, a cheese sandwich.
Can I get
fucking
Guys, get a
douchebag.
cheese sandwich.
Swiss on rye.
R-Y-E.
If I was that waitress, I'd be like,
I would have spit in his face right then and there. Just,
And then she's like ready to walk away. Oh, and another water. Oh, and an aspirin.
no. She goes, "And then you want anything else?" And he goes, No, thanks. And then she brings the food. "Where's the ketchup?" And it's like, "You said you didn't want anything anymore, you fucking scumbag." Which now I'm on the killer truck side.
so this whole scene just shows the paranoia. 'Cause he's looking at, there was 4 or 5 guys at the bar.
Cowboys.
With
if you
cowboy
will.
boots.
Yeah, and he's looking at the boots, trying to think of who's who.
And then eventually he sees a guy in a booth by himself, and he's like, that has to be the guy.
Because he had scuffed up.
So he
cowboy
goes and
boots.
slaps the sandwich out of his hand. And he's like, "Leave me alone,
No,
you
but
bully!
he goes up to him. He's like, "You need to knock it off." And
Yeah,
the guy's
yeah.
like,
You
Yeah,
need
the
to
guy's like,
stop being mean to me right now!" And then the guy just beats him up because
No,
it's
he's like-
schoolyard bullshit.
no, he goes up to him. He's like, "You need to knock off what you do." And the guy's like, "What?"
That's what
And
I'm
then
saying.
It escalates to him slapping the guy's food out of his hand. Then
But
he
it's-
gets punched.
It's
a
that
few times.
Twice.
It's
And
that
it's the-
cafeteria mindset where you're like, "I'm gonna go tell my bully to leave me alone," and then he just gets his ass kicked because that's how the real world works.
And
And
then-
then it turns out the guy didn't even fucking drive the evil truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
And
had
then,
the
and then
scene
the,
where he's
I feel
walking-
bad. You know what I feel bad for in that entire thing?
It was
Is
Curtis or Chuck or
yeah,
whatever.
the guy in the kitchen, because he comes out and he's like, "I'll buy you a beer, I'll buy you a sandwich, don't leave." And the guy leaves, and then he looks at Mr. Man and he goes, "Why don't you just get out of here?"
Get the fuck out of here! And he spits on him, and it's fucking rad.
It was a lot more polite than it probably would be now.
Yeah. So anyway, he gets back on the road. He thinks that he's in the clear, and sure enough, the truck is parked on the side of the road waiting for
waiting
him.
for him.
Yeah, because before he leaves the diner, the whole time he's looking at all the people in there, thinking he's in there, but really the guy was just in the truck waiting.
He was in the truck waiting. Like, what a troll move!
Yeah, and he's looking at everything going on. He's like, "I think I'll head out."
Yeah, that Trump. Ruined my own joke. Anyway, continue. Yeah, it's your basic chase plot. They go back and forth. There's all kinds of hijinks.
And they all have really kind of cool moments. Like, how about the train scene where he's waiting at the train tracks. He thinks he's in the clear. He's waiting at the train tracks. The next thing you know, the truck's behind him trying to push him into the train.
Yeah, I think that's after he leaves the diner, right?
Yeah, that's after he leaves.
That was a funny prank. I thought about that. Like, seriously, what if you pushing you into the train to the guy in front of you, and they can now be like, no.
I'm gonna say the stunt drivers they had in this movie
Good.
were fucking rad.
Oh
You want to
yeah.
know why? Because fucking safety and bullshit didn't exist. So like, you flip that car down that mountain.
I wonder how many cars they went through in
They
this.
probably went through a lot of cars.
I want to say probably 2 of the truck.
Yeah, the truck. They probably didn't go through a lot of the truck, but
Well, the truck's a little more durable than a car.
But if it'll break down, there was a couple crash scenes where it's going to break down.
And that truck was not in good shape. That's part of what makes the truck such a cool character is
Yeah.
that it has character.
I also think
It's an older truck. It's all beat up.
It's blacked, it's rusted.
yeah, but I feel like they could have got a nice truck and cosmetic shit out of it.
No,
Make
that's
it look-
obviously what they did.
Yeah.
Well, that truck was like a 1940s truck.
But I'm saying they got a truck that was in decent condition with a good engine, and then they fucked it up, and then they were like, all right, we only get this like once or twice, so let's do. Whereas that little fucking Plymouth, they probably bought 3 or 4, and we're like, let's beat the shit out of 3 and keep 1 in good condition. Let's use
And then they
one-
probably ended up buying 10 more. 'Cause
Yeah.
let's be honest.
Let's use 1 for the scenes where it's driving on the highway, 1 to crash into the fence, 1 to roll down the mountain, 1 to hit. You know what I mean? Like 1 to get stuck under the bus.
And also, let's be honest, it's a Plymouth, so when the line broke, that actually wasn't part of the film. It actually legit happened. They were like, oh, well, now we got to write this in the story.
Anyway, so I watched Unhinged, and then I watched this, and I think I like this more than Unhinged. Straight up, this was more like this whole time I was thinking about what I would do. In Unhinged, the main character's an unlikable cunt, and you're rooting for Russell Crowe to fucking brain her.
Yeah.
Whereas this, you were like, this guy's an asshole, but
No,
like he
to
doesn't
be-
deserve to be murdered.
To be fair, if you were put in that situation, you would be fucking tense as shit, and you might come off as an asshole.
Exactly.
To certain people.
Yeah.
So
And you know, his cunt of a wife is like, why didn't you fight that guy?
yeah, she's like nagging him to come home. Are
'Cause
you
they're
sure you
apparent-
need to go meet this guy? Yes, it's my job. I need to
Well,
do
and
this.
they
Hey,
apparently
like
they were
your
apparently at
house?
some like office party, and one of the guys was drinking too much and came across that he was hitting on her, and in her mind, he was like, he was trying to rape me.
And now that could go either way. Like, it could go like, yeah, sure, he was trying to fucking rape her, and the husband did nothing. Or it could be that the wife over exaggerated and the guy was just too drunk. Or it could be like, yeah, he did get a little aggressive, but everyone agreed it was just the alcohol and it's okay, you know? So there's 3 different scenarios. Point being, this guy's playing through all 3 in his head, and then this fucking truck starts fucking with him. So he's like, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah, so he's tense to begin with because he's stressed
And then
about
he
getting home, stressed
Chills
about
out.
stressed about his job.
Yeah.
But there was a certain point where it was like, all right, truck, when you're waiting for him, now you're the bad guy. You deserve everything that happens now.
Yeah.
Whereas Unhinged, it's like that bitch is a cunt the entire movie, and you're like, up until the very end when Russell Crowe starts killing people, you're like, okay, she's the bad guy. Like when she, even at the end of the movie, she pulls out of the school incorrectly. Like she didn't fucking learn a lesson. Remember? So it's like that bitch deserved it, you know? Everything, like all her family members getting killed, she deserved it.
To be fair, nobody deserves to have a crazy man follow and.
If you disregard the law, eventually
The fucking friend had no reason to be killed or attacked or whatever in the diner and Unhinged.
well, he was fucking her.
He wasn't.
He was a
fucking her.
divorce court lawyer. He deserves to die. Let's be
He's
honest.
helping people who are in a bad relationship who want to get out of it.
Spoken like a true feminist.
Well, also to add to your point though about how the truck was waiting for him, especially when he falls asleep in his car for an hour,
Yeah.
and he wakes up and he's like, all right, by now this guy has got to be gone. And no, he's just up the road and he just sat there and waited.
What did I say when the train wakes him up? I was like, watch the truck be on the other side of the tracks. And you're like, maybe. And I was like, you're right. It is in the train. Like I pictured the semi driving off the fucking truck.
I'm glad it wasn't though.
Yeah, no, that's
That
what
would
made it
have
better.
been too predictable.
That would have been too stupid. That would have taken this to a surreal level, to like a Friday the 13th level.
Now the cool thing about this movie is it was his
It's
first,
believable.
like full Steven Spielberg's first like real.
He made a
feature-length
bunch of
movie.
shorts and he made like some indie films, but I feel like this was the first film someone gave him a bunch of money to make.
Yeah.
So the TV version was 74 minutes, and when it got its theatrical release, it was 90 minutes. Probably because the TV version they had to cut out some scenes, and for the theatrical they were able to add those back in.
Yeah, the budget was $450,000, which is pretty good for.
That's pretty damn good.
Oh, so the original was only 74 minutes, and then the theatrical they added some stuff.
You motherfucker!
Oh man, yeah, I liked this movie. I didn't think I. All right, let me rephrase that. I knew I would like it. I didn't think I would like it this much.
I thought it was a well shot. The acting was fine.
There
It
wasn't
was-
any acting really. It was mostly just watch these 2 cars chase each
No,
other.
but there was a lot of acting. It's all.
Also, that little girl in the skirt, How did her parents let her get away with
No,
that?
the acting was great because all it is reactions. Reacting to things is hard when you're actually trying to act.
Well,
You
no,
can
yeah,
either
the-
overdo it or you can underdo it.
When you have autism, reacting to things is hard, Chad. You're
I
right.
think he played the part of Michael Mann really well.
I could see Michael Douglas playing this guy.
Actually, no, we were joking, like, if we were to remake this movie, who would you get? And I actually was kind of joking. I said, Gary Oldman might, because he has the mustache.
I still think
I think he's a good reaction.
I think it should be The Rock and Vin Diesel, though.
No!
No, because if Vin Diesel's driving a truck, he's going to want his face on screen.
That's what I'm saying.
Or is his voice?
No, it'd be Vin Diesel in the little car.
No, you know what would happen? You wouldn't see him or anything at the very end. Family, as the truck goes off the edge.
See, you were joking.
2 Corona bottles fly out.
No, you were joking, but I do think Adam Driver could have been a good
Main
David
character.
Yeah.
Adam Driver could do it, yeah. Because this character's very, like, meekish, but Adam Driver, I don't know if you've seen Marriage Story, Adam Driver can cut to, like, blind, like, emotional rage pretty quick. And there's a few sines in this movie where the guy's like, that fucking truck is trying to kill me! You know?
That's why I hate
Can we talk about also how some of the people reacted? So, like, obviously the truck was real, because when they stopped at the gas
A few
station...
people said it wasn't.
Yeah.
That's what tripped me up. It wasn't until the rattlesnake scene that I was
The
like,
rattlesnake
all right,
scene.
this truck is
Or
real.
how about the old couple who he was like, can I please just ask you to... And the wife was like, no, you're weird. You're freaking us out.
that
And
was
all of a sudden,
after.
yeah, I know. But then the truck starts backing up. They're like, holy shit.
Yo, fuck that old man, by the way. Didn't you fight World War II and you're scared of a semi? You
Yeah.
fought Nazis. Shut the fuck up, you pussy. Straight
Well,
up.
no. You know what it was? He was listening to his wife. He was being a little
That's
bitch.
what I'm saying, but it's like,
Being
dude,
a
you're
little
part of...
bitch.
being cucked.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, you're the greatest generation. You fought Hitler, and you're letting this cunt's like, no, let that man die.
To be fair, he put up with enough shit in the war. He doesn't want to have to put up his wife's shit.
He's one of those guys.
Chad, not everyone is you.
Chad, or maybe Chad, he had special permission not to go over there. And his wife really thinks he shouldn't get involved. I'd love to help you, but my wife doesn't want me involved.
Anyway.
What was I saying? Did I make up a whole, like, oh, this movie didn't really happen? This is just one Jewish guy driving down the highway explaining why.
Why do you have to derail
Because he's
everything?
explaining why he's late, and then a semi chased me.
So, Chris, we were also looking at this a second ago. How about how many times this has been, like, referenced?
No, I didn't know this was like an iconic thing. I didn't realize it. There's a Looney Tunes, or excuse me, a Tiny Toons Halloween special that I saw when I was a kid that did a bunch of shorts that parodied scary movies. And I didn't realize the one with Wile E. Coyote was just this fucking movie.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. Like, if you look at the list, there's
I mean, we can look at
this
the
has been
list.
referenced like a lot. There was even a Hulk TV show in the 70s that references it, and Spielberg got pissed off because the Hulk show.
Well, no, they didn't. It didn't reference it. It took film footage.
Oh, that's
from
right. Yeah, it
this
took
movie.
direct film footage.
It took footage of the truck speeding on the highway and used, I guess, assumed Hulk stops it or something. This was the sad piano Hulk with Lou Ferrigno. So basically, Lou Ferrigno Hulk stole fucking footage from this movie and then used it for their TV show. And Spielberg was like, "The fuck."
I guarantee you the directors that probably didn't even notice it was from this movie. It was probably just footage they found.
Yeah. I mean, it was used in a bunch.
Also, worth noting, there wasn't really much. The soundtrack was just generic horror film when there was music, but for the most part, it was just the sound of the engines.
Remember the Bob's Burgers episode with the candy cane truck?
Huh.
It's the exact same fucking movie.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Murder, She Wrote, guys.
Yeah, Murder, She Wrote. We should get into it.
I used to watch that.
There's
show.
a lot of really, like, good, bad stuff in Murder, She Wrote. Overall, would you recommend this movie to people?
I would, because I recommended it to you guys,
I like it.
obviously.
See, the best thing about this movie we were talking about is it seems like a feature-length Twilight Zone episode. The way it's shot, the way the inner dialogue goes on with the character, it's very reminiscent to early Twilight Zone, not the new one.
Yeah, I mean, if you say that. I attributed it more to Hitchcock Presents, but I'm a little more educated than you when it comes to movies and television.
During the whole thing, you're like, yeah, it is like a Twilight Zone episode.
But I started it
And
by
now
saying...
you're now.
I started it by saying it
but
reminds
now
me of
he has to
Hitchcock.
think. Now he's like, how can I make that comment snobby?
I like that.
That's why we're fanboy and
Hold on.
Snobs.
Dude, I like that statement. Chris heard something, and now he has to think. It's like, oh, sorry.
God, I wish I could think.
It's Chris,
How dare he expand
Chris
upon an
having to
idea?
of a way to make Chad seem
Yes, it's
dumb.
Chris hearing something and thinking about it. How dare he?
Oh my god, I hate you.
Chad no think. Chad hear idea. Idea makes sense. Chad live my idea. Chad no think.
How about that picture I photoshopped where he's at the bar reading the menu and I put the little bubble above it and says, damn, I wish I could read.
Yeah. We hate you, buddy. I started the song right, and he cut me off to butcher.
Down in Coca. I know the song lyrics better than you.